clouds melt into rain. Snow packs down on glaciers. Small streams feed mighty rivers, great lakes, and the sea. The earth keeps turning. China's homeland enjoys spectacular mountains and abundant waters. The varied climatic conditions shape lives and livelihoods. Let's start from the heart of things, following the amazing creatures of the high mountains, tracing the source of the rivers, and voyaging across the seasons to see the great natural glories of China. In October, as winter begins on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, the black-necked cranes set off from their various sites scattered across the plateau. Some of them are on their way eastward along the Himalayas, the highest mountain range in the world, and the Yarlung Zangbo River, the highest altitude river in the world, to find a place where they will spend the winter. The journey will take them about a month before they arrive at the world's deepest, largest, and most mysterious canyon. The Himalayas are both the world's highest and largest mountain range. The highest peak in its eastern range is Namcha Barwa. Due to the remoteness of its location and the difficulty of getting there, it was not until 1994 that China scientists finally confirmed the Yarlung Zangbo Grand Canyon as the deepest canyon in the world. The wetlands near the head of the canyon are an important wintering site for many migratory birds. As the flocks of bar-headed geese land, black-necked cranes flock around them. There are 15 species of cranes worldwide. The black-necked crane was the last to be named. It is unusual in living its entire life on the plateau. While the breeding grounds further north are often at an altitude of 4,000 meters or more, the wetlands of the Yarlung Zangbo Grand Canyon are less than 3,000 meters above sea level. This makes for a relatively mild winter. This is a first-time visitor, born earlier this year. To the east, you can see a towering landmark, Namcha Barwa. To its northwest, no more than 20 kilometers away as the crow flies, there is another peak called Gaila Peri. The spear-shaped Namcha Barwa, 7,782 meters high, dominates the eastern Himalayas. The U-shaped Gaila Peri, 7,294 meters high, is the highest peak along the eastern section of the Nianqian Tangla Mountains. It is the meeting of the Eurasian plate and the Indian plate that brought the two peaks together. The collision of these two plates also created the Yarlung Zangbo Grand Canyon. From its source near Mount Kailash, the Yarlung Zangbo River runs east for 1,700 kilometers before a series of dramatic twists and turns that take it between the two great peaks. First north, then east again, before a big bend southwards. It swoops down through the mountains, creating a deep canyon 504.6 kilometers long. The river's elevation drops sharply from about 3,000 meters to 800 meters as it crosses the border into India, where ultimately it becomes the Brahmaputra, flowing out into the Bay of Bengal in Bangladesh. Over the steep canyon stands numerous snowy peaks. Above the snowline, glacier lakes are all covered with pure white snow all year round. The humid air from the Bay of Bengal freezes and stagnates here. Going downwards, as the elevation drops sharply, one can travel in just one day from cold winter to hot summer, from snowy glaciers to alpine deserts, to coniferous forests and then to tropical monsoon forests. A total of 9 vertical natural zones are strongly embedded on both sides of the canyon. This gang of macaques have arrived at an altitude of over 2,000 meters by following the growing patterns of plants. They are one of the most adaptable species of monkey in Eurasia. To have a foothold on narrow and steep cliffs, however, they have to stay alert at all times and master the skills of mountaineering. This is a super canyon that is still growing and changing. A fully depopulated zone stretches for about 100 kilometers and is one of the most difficult areas in the world to traverse. This is the latest and rarest high-definition footage of the canyon's deepest part yet filmed. Here, you can see the intense interaction between the Eurasian plate and the Indian plate with your naked eye. The gushing Yarlung Zangbo River is gradually squeezed by the granite mountains into a gully as narrow as 30 meters. This releases huge kinetic energy that shakes the mountains on both sides. The height difference between the depths of the canyon and the peak of Namcha Barwa is around 6,000 meters. In this extreme topography, even the basics for survival become scarce. Papenfuss's rock agamas emerge from a rock crevice above the river one by one. These cold-blooded creatures need heat from the sun to get active. But in the canyon, the sunlight keeps shifting, and they have to climb higher and higher to stay in its glare. They won't completely warm up until they've climbed quite a long way. Going down the river, everything in the canyon changes completely when the altitude reaches 2,000 meters. The lower end of the canyon draws in a lot of moisture and heat. Over 65% of the plants and fungi in the Tibetan region live in this environment. Almost every inch of the canyon is covered with dense primary forest, blotting out the sun and the sky. It also inhibits human exploration, making it one of the most mysterious places in China. A rare primate is hidden away here, living a very secluded life while always being alert. It was not until 2015 that Chinese scientists confirmed for the first time what turned out to be a new species of primate. It's not large. From the color of its fur covering its ears and cheeks and extending below its neck, it has been named the white-cheeked macaque. They are so elusive that the exact size of their population and distribution remain unknown. Although this dense forest seems to have abundant resources and all seems quite normal, survival is still tough. The white-cheeked macaques have cultivated toughness in their personalities. They can get that by eating just leaves and branches. In May, frequent rains begin. Alpine meadows on each side of the canyon welcome a short flowering season. The pollination period overlaps with the rainy season, but plants growing here have adapted to this. The Sikkim rhubarb carefully guards its pollen, growing pagoda-like bracts to protect its delicate stamen and pistils. Warm, humid air flowing from the Bay of Bengal becomes ever more influential in the lower altitude section of the canyon's lower reaches. The arrival of summer sees it rain heavily almost every day. The area is 500 kilometers north of Cherrapunji, which holds the record for being the wettest place on Earth. The lower reaches of the Grand Canyon get an average rainfall of over 2,330 millimeters, making it one of the wettest areas in China. The Grand Canyon not only generates a large amount of rainfall, but also brings together many tributaries which feed into the Yarlung Zangbo River, creating raging rapids and torrents that rush south to the sea. In the dense riverside forests at the far end of the canyon is a hidden, untraversed, moraine-dammed lake. Chun Lake is very close to the Yarlung Zangbo River, but at an elevation nearly 1,000 meters higher. The lake's surface looked to many like a map outline of China. Every inch of the lakeside is filled with some kind of life. Its extreme density, humidity, and mugginess can drive new arrivals crazy. But once you have recovered yourself, you will find many wonders. The rain has just stopped. This daddy longlegs has to hurry up and weaves itself a new web. This plant hopper waits anxiously to complete the next stage in metamorphosis. The pure white nymph is too conspicuous in the jungle. Leeches reach out with anterior and posterior suckers. The suckers have sharp, hidden mandibles that can cut through skin, allowing the leeches to feed on the blood of their hosts. The area is one of China's most densely distributed for tree frogs. In recent years, there have been dozens of newly discovered species. When night falls, a cacophony of their calls brews up across the dense rainforest. This leech is on the hunt. A voracious feeder, it has sensed the presence of a succulent host, a twin-spotted tree frog. Although the frogs are long inured to jungle living, they still have to be on their guard against leeches. The cross-barred tree frog is only found in the Grand Canyon. They are just 5 to 6 centimeters in length. This is their most important time of the year. Each focuses their attention on the right moment to act. Their destination is this large tree by the pond. A strong female carrying a small male on her back is already ahead of the others. She has to keep climbing. Their mysterious bridal chamber is inside the dense patch of epiphytic orchids up above. Other couples have their eyes on the same patch, while single males nearby rush over to catch the action. The newlyweds will not shrink back, for they have to risk everything on a single throw if they want to move in time. The thin and pliable leaves of the epiphytic orchids are the very wedding bed of their dreams. In just 1 week, the spawn stuck to the leaves will hatch. One after another, the tadpoles will fall into the pond below. When the turbid Yarlung Zangbo River becomes clear and cool, it means that winter is coming. The white-cheeked macaques come to the fringe of the forest, looking for food to fill their bellies. The little one is now almost 5 months old. White-cheeked macaques' bodies are covered in thick fur, which helps to keep them warm. Once their fur becomes dirty, matted, or wet, its insulative ability will be compromised. To cope with the canyon's complex and isolated environment, the macaques maintain close relations with each other. The young and elderly are looked after carefully. The close emotional connections among family members are crucial to their existence, which is legendary for its remote and secretive nature. As the cold, dry winter passes away, the warm and humid airflow from the Bay of Bengal comes back north to the Grand Canyon. In the canyon's low to medium altitudes, the temperature rises to about 25 degrees Celsius. But continuing up the canyon, the high mountains on each side exert their influence. Even in May, the temperature of the canyon's northern slope high above the Qinghai Tibet Plateau is only 8 degrees Celsius. Sudden drops below this can trigger dramatic falls of snow. The black-necked cranes along the river ready themselves for spring as the temperature creeps up again. One by one, the members of each group take off, flying into the wind, their wings waving farewell to the Yarlung Zangbo Grand Canyon as they head to their summer breeding grounds deep in the plateau. The towering peak of Namcha Barwa they leave behind is still growing at a rate of 30 millimeters per year. Deep below, the raging Yarlung Zangbo River continues its downward race to the sea, cutting through the mysterious canyon that has no match anywhere in the world.